My Grandma Pete is one of the strongest women I know. She's overcome poverty, a lack of schooling, single parenthood, loss of family, multiple forms of cancer, and still manages to stay strong at 85 for our entire family. My grandma was born in Admire, Kansas in 1927 to her parents James and Elizabeth North. She is child 6 out of 10, though her youngest sister Josephine died in infancy. When she was a teenager, she worked away from the house and actually lived in a boarding house doing work around there so she could attend high school. But then after her sophomore year, she quit high school to just work full-time. At the age of 17, she married her first husband, Joe. And her husband both worked many jobs to try and make ends meet. They actually, during World War II, sewed ammunition belts for the overseas armies. And at the age of 20, she had her first child, my Aunt Bessie. While she was with Joe, she had 5 kids. First Bessie, then Joe, then Luke, then Mike, then my Aunt Loretta. But when my Aunt Loretta was 6 months old, her husband left her to raise 5 kids on her own. And that's what she did for 6 years. She was a single mother working round the clock to try and get everything to meet ends. And then in 1956, she moved to Oregon with her brother and sister to start anew with her kids and met my Grandpa Harvey. They were married and they found a house here in Carlton where they lived. Had 2 more daughters, my mother, my Aunt Georgia, but then when the youngest of the 7 kids was 6 months old, my grandfather died of a heart attack, leaving her alone once again to raise kids. She has been everything to everyone for so many years. She worked hard all of her life to make sure that her family had what they needed. She worked for 32 years at Portland Glove Company here in Carlton, Oregon, and worked there until the day that they shut it down. And after that, she went and she worked at a retirement home taking care of people, some who were younger than her. It was a little bit humorous. She finally retired herself at the age of about 78, and you would think that she would just get to relax, but she owned a 4-acre property, the same house that her and my grandpa moved into, and she was the one who took care of the property, who made sure that everything was taken care of, the lawn was mowed, things were picked up. She's overcome so much, including 4 kinds of cancer. She's had lymphoma, skin, breast, and colon cancer, and she's survived them all. She's so much to everyone in our family. Everybody knows her as Grandma Pete. Everybody knows how strong she is. One of my favorite stories is, it was storming outside, and she loves the show Perry Mason, and her cable went out, so she asked one of my aunts to come over and help. The aunt came over and said, "Mom, it's too wet, it's too windy, we just can't be going up on the roof right now." She goes, "Fine, I'll just wait until you leave and I'll do it myself." My aunt knew that she would, so she took her ladder. As my aunt was leaving, she said, "Fine, I'll build my own damn ladder." And she did. She built her own ladder at the age of right around 78, climbed up on the top of her house during a storm so she could fix her own cable. She's an amazing woman. Her house is always open to everybody. It's actually really strange to be at her house and have somebody knock on the door because everybody knows it's Grandma's house. Everybody knows her as Grandma. All my friends, all my cousin's friends, my mother's friends, as everybody was growing up, she's always been Mom or Grandma. She cooks for everybody every holiday. She makes a huge feast for 30 plus people, and we all cram into her little house to get to spend time with Grandma and taste her amazing food. And she's an amazing woman who would do anything for any one of us. My grandma has had to overcome many things, but it's never broken her. It's never turned her heart unkind. It's never made her give up. When she was in her early 70s, she actually went back to college and got her GED. She's everything to every one of us, and I am very proud to call myself Leona Pete Long's granddaughter.